Welcome back, everybody. Let's talk, man. Let's just talk. Quick disclaimers before we even get into the video. This is not a life advice video. This is not going to be like, oh, this is what you need to do to improve your life or blah, 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 or whatever, right? I'm not Dr. K or any of that. If you're feeling down in the dumps, right, and you have thoughts like, I don't want to be here anymore, this is too much. First of all, I don't even freaking blame you, right? The way things are right now, I don't even blame you. However, I highly encourage that you go out there and get some professional help. With that out of the way, I do want to get into some topics for this video. So, I want to talk about insecurity, self-worth, and hopelessness. And I'm going to break it down into 4 parts. The first part is going to be cognitive theory, right? What I have learned. The second part is going to be about self-worth. The third part is going to be about the hopelessness. And the last part is kind of going to be about what it is that I'm doing, right? To deal with this, right? Because a lot of us are on the same boat. We suffer from these things. And we have to battle them every single freaking day just to get out of bed, just to freaking move on with our day. It's just as much for me as it is for you. You don't have to follow any of what I'm saying in this video. None of it. But this is how I rationalize a lot of the things that are happening and, the actions I take and my thoughts and my own emotions, right? So you don't have to follow any advice. Cognitive theory breaks down into 3 things. There's thoughts, there's emotions, and then there's actions. So let's put up a scenario and break it down. Let's say you're in a meeting with your supervisor. They give you the generic bull crap, yeah, you're at average performance right now. And they hit you with the, nah, wait till the next evaluation for assessing if you're going to get a raise or not. Let's just go off of that as the scenario. A bunch of thoughts are going to come into your head, right? Among those being, this is BS. I work my butt off. I do everything they ask. I sacrifice myself. All these things are going to come into your mind. But what it's going to do on top of that is affect your emotion, how you're feeling for the day. And the effects of that are going to be instantaneous. You're going to keep replaying that conversation in your head over and over and over again. And it's going to rile you up. It's going to piss you off. So what is the response? There's going to be action, right? You're going to take actions. Let's look for a freaking new job. Let's start there, right? The other one is going to be, you might not be nice to customers. This is all a case by case, right? You might get meaner with your coworkers, with your bosses. These things all happen, okay? This is natural. Not excusing it, but it's natural. It happens. The next part is going to be how this ties into self-worth. So where we go into self-worth is another concept that I know as the imaginary audience. And this is something that is mostly studied in adolescence. Where this all ties in is that we are imagining an audience constantly watching every little thing that we do in our lives. You're driving down the street, you're freaking watching a video on YouTube. Let's say you have your phone on your dash or some crap, and you're thinking about the driver behind you. You're thinking, are they seeing my content? Are they seeing the crap I'm watching right now? Do they think I'm a degenerate? Do they think I'm a loser? Do they think I'm an irresponsible driver? That's just a more extreme example. I know that there's smaller scenarios, right? Like, for example, you're saying hi to a girl and you stutter, and then you're automatically going to have this thought, right? It's going to be like, oh, damn, I don't even know how to talk to girls. I'm a freaking loser, and, things like that. And it starts affecting you. It starts affecting you because the more you repeat it, it affects you, and it starts affecting your emotions and your actions. And it all ties up. It all ties into your self-worth, right? That's why I'm wanting to start the video off with thoughts, emotions, actions, because this is what leads to apathy. This is what leads to isolation. This is what leads to hopelessness, right? Before I move into part 2, I do want to get into something else, and that is that half of the thoughts we have, they're not even freaking true. Okay? But there's also something known as automatic. And I think I said it earlier. Automatic thoughts. It's in the name, right? They're thoughts that you don't clock. You don't clock these. They happen and they start building up. Slowly but surely, you have more and more and more and more. I'm a loser. I'm going nowhere. This is a dead end job. I don't have any skills. I can't talk to people. All of that crap, right? All of that starts to add up, and they're automatic thoughts. So you got to combat that. You have to challenge it. You have to do some reality testing, right? Reality testing is actually asking yourself, okay, is this true or am I just saying it? Okay. And you got to go over your entire life and you got to think to yourself, okay, what is my evidence? Do I have enough evidence to support this? And if your evidence is, I have no friends. If your evidence is, I don't get laid. If your evidence is, I'm not a multi-billionaire sitting in a mansion with 5 Ferraris, that's not evidence, which is going to lead me into the next part, right? Self-worth. So there's another concept that I want to kind of get out, and that is the ID, the ego, and the superego. Our ID is basically our primal instincts, right? It's our pleasure, right? And this is in the subconscious part of our brain, okay? This is not out in the open. This is not what we show people. This is not what we openly talk about. This is something that is a desire inside of us, and it drives us, right? In between ID and superego is your ego, right? It's what you're presenting to the world, right? It's how you conduct yourself. It's how you speak, how you walk, how you look at people. And then we have the superego. So your superego is basically your sense of morality, right? I'm not going to say that we all have the same morality. And here's why. We all get morality from somewhere, okay? Some of us get it from our parents. Some of us get it from a celebrity. Some of us get it from God. But we invent our own morality. If you're still following me, all of these things make up our identity, who we are. I'm not talking about who we are to the people out there. I'm talking about who we are to ourselves, which is directly tied into self-worth. And all of this to say that our desires aren't always tied to reality. And they also have influence over some of these automatic thoughts that we have, which eventually, once they have added up to such a point, they become cognitive distortions. What is that? Some examples of this could be magnifying your problems, making them bigger than they are. Some of them can be reasoning solely out of emotions. Other ones can be like your mind reading, right? Like you can read somebody's mind and you can just, oh yeah, I know what they think of me. I can just tell. You know what I mean? Our value is tied to all these desires, right? We're so caught up with, I'm not making enough money. I'm not married yet. All these things. I don't have a higher level of education. All these things. And we tie our value to external things, to material things. We don't focus on the intrinsic value of a human being. We don't acknowledge that our brains, our conscious, they're like their own separate realities. We have our own little mini universe in our head, each and every one of us. And we shape our reality. And I'm not talking about that manifestation bullcrap. What I'm talking about is people can tell you they love you. People could tell you you look good. People could tell you that you're doing okay. But if you don't believe it, it's not real. You get what I'm saying now, right? We shape our world. We shape our beliefs. And nobody can come in and change that. So nobody's going to come and fix us. Nobody's going to come and make things better. The only one who can do that is us. Which leads me to part 3. The hopelessness, the stagnation, the mediocrity, right? Tying it back up to cognitive theory, our actions reflect our internal struggle with our identity, with who we are and our desires. So what does this look like sometimes, right? You could just be rotting in bed all day, scrolling on your phone endlessly, right? Binge drinking, chain smoking, doing things that you think are gonna satisfy you, but in reality, nah, they don't satisfy crap. And it just becomes a cycle. You're caught in a negative feedback loop where it's just the same day over and over, and you're just so tired. You're tired. You want something different, right? And I'm not going to hold out on you, right? I'm gonna step right into part 4, right? How do we handle this, really? Like, what do we do? I think what we need to do is confront ourselves. There's nobody else that's gonna do it for us if it isn't us. We have to make quiet pockets of time in our day without the noise, without the distractions. We have to confront our emotions, and that crap is hard. That's why I recommended that you search for a professional, because they're not going to tell you what to do. They're going to guide you how to confront yourself, your desires, and your identity. That's how that works. Because it's either that or you become a people pleaser and you don't know why you're trying to please people, or you just become completely apathetic and numb towards reality and towards the people around you and towards just everything. Like, you just don't want to exist, right? Or you just don't care. It's just complete indifference. You just want to see the world burn. You know, you just laugh it all off. It's all meaningless, right? Nihilism, basically. The only thing you could do is try to find that in between, right? Zoom out, you know? Zoom out beyond yourself, beyond society, beyond people, beyond everything, and just look at a bigger picture, man. This is how I do it. You know, not only do I know all the things I'm just talking about right now, but the way I do it is that I have to confront myself every day. I don't let anything just sit. I have to confront it. Because I struggle with insecurity. I have anxiety about my performance in my job, or about my purpose, or about my identity. And what usually works for me is that I have to look beyond my problems here on earth. I have to look beyond the societal pressure and expectations of who I should be, you know? And I run to God. That's who I go to, because that is a form of intimate relationship for me that helps me. And God fills that role for me. Back in the ID, right, we have deep subconscious desires. And I think one of the deepest ones that we all have is a yearning for a real relationship. Something that feels raw, meaningful, and not curated, not artificial, real. Like, you want to feel real emotions, right? Real thought, not what's being seen now in the social media age, you know, the plastic, artificial social life, small talk, you know, all this crap that makes you feel empty inside. You know what I mean? I struggle with this just as much as anybody else. But what has worked for me is zooming out. For me, it's been God, right? But for you, it could be something else. I don't know. I don't know you, right? You know, the point is, look, dig deep inside yourself. That's what we need to do. hold on to those meaningful relationships if you have any. And don't be afraid to be raw and open with them. And sometimes I do numb myself. Sometimes I do just want to play video games for 5 hours. Sometimes I do just want to binge anime for 5 hours. That happens. There's going to be setbacks, but you can't give up. It has to be a constant battle. And only you can do it. Only you can do it, because only you will look for help. Only you will look for purpose. Only you will find the thing that's going to help you make it click in your head that the keys are in your hands.